Okay.
Yeah.
Tuko sawa. So we are back. We are back to have a conversation on AI and the different aspects of life. But we're just going on with AI in education. We had already started a conversation on how does AI or how will AI affect our approach to assessment of learners. And then we had touched a little bit on uptake of STEM courses in Kenya, in Africa, and comparing to other countries, particularly the developed countries or the tiger giants in Asia. So that will form the basis of our conversation today. We look forward to your comments, your feedback. It's always pleasing to read from you and to hear from you. So, gentlemen, we can proceed. We start with the far left, Amos.
So you want me to introduce myself?
You do what you can do to introduce the conversation.
Yeah, I think at this moment you already know who we are. If you've been following our conversations, yeah, as you know, this is our fourth sitting. Yeah, discussing this topic revolving around AI and education. Yeah, so in our previous episodes, we have tried so much to focus on understanding how AI is impacting this very important aspect of our life, and we have really touched on very many things. And as we proceed with this conversation, we are trying so much to at least narrow our focus to ensure that we are able to understand what is really going on in this sphere of education as regards to the use of AI. So today we are hoping that we can delve deeper, and we are hoping we can discuss more about how AI is going to change the assessment of students, and also we want to see what might be the factors, what will be the contributing factors that lead to African countries, especially let's say like Kenya, who are recording low numbers of students who are taking these STEM courses, which we know they are very important when it comes to driving these companies or these ideas that are changing the world, as you can see right now. So I welcome you all, and I hope you're going to have a fruitful discussion.
Stanley, you have
Yeah.
some introductory words.
Oh, yeah, it's good to be back again to talk to you and to have maybe a conversation on this AI in education thing. Yeah, I agree with what Amos is saying, that STEM courses are the key drivers of any successful economy. It's not that we are trying to push back or push away other courses, but we are trying to uh, look at a way in which we can have our people or our students do these STEM courses, because it's only technology that can bring in more investments, more innovation, more development, more companies to do different things and different stuff. So even in as much as we are talking about those STEM courses, also this issue of how these STEM courses are going to be maybe how students are going to be assessed on these STEM courses is also another issue, now that this technology is coming in very fast. So I think, I don't know what might be the problem, maybe especially in Kenyan setting, that's leading to low people or low number of students enrolling in these STEM courses. Could it be the background from where people come from? Could it be that people are not aware at a level when they finish their O level or their Form 4? Is it that they don't have enough information, or they are not willing to do these STEM courses, or they have not qualified to do the STEM courses? So what do you think could be the problem, Elias?
I think it's a combination of factors, the way you're trying to say. And it's quite interesting because you're coming back to this conversation based on what we had claimed in our first episode, that is it necessary to do coding at the university level. But
Yes.
now we are rolling back to saying
Yeah.
we need people to take these courses. But now,
coding does not encompass the entire.
but it's part
It's
of
part.
it. Anyway. It's part of it. So you've asked a very nice question. As we know, taking these STEM courses, let's pick some of them: engineering, mathematics. It is quite costly in terms of the resources that you use. For instance, from my own experience, we know to do statistics and programming, you're supposed to be in a laboratory, not a chemical laboratory, but a computer laboratory, because all of us at that age or at that phase of life when you are in campus, we don't have enough resources to acquire on laptops, and therefore you are relying on the university, the computer laboratory. If you are 50 students of you in a class, then you need at least 50 desktops for everyone to practically do something. If the instructor or the lecturer is asking, let's run this code. But now I remember I still have the letters I was writing when I was in campus to the management team, telling them we are 65 students in class, but only five computers are working.
Yeah.
and out of the 5, maybe one does not have a keyboard, although it's functional, but that's a problem. So remain with, for now, 65 students need to crowd on 4 computers. So it is a broken system all the way from the learning process to let's say funding to get these resources. Now there is, as I said at the beginning, there is a combination of so many factors. There are psychologists who claim that men are more likely to take those technical courses, the likes of engineering, IT, mathematics, and women are likely to take those caring, medicine, nursing courses. I'm not saying that's my claim, but it could be true. So we shall meet with the feminists in another forum to argue over that. But now we look at it from the high school level, what other people call O level, I believe. Those who are passing well to go to university to take these courses, maybe they don't have enough resources back at home, so it becomes a challenge. And I'm learning that just last year the government has increased the fee for these technical courses. Like, I'm told medicine,
That's
medicine, engineering, it's supposed to part with almost, is it 600,000 per year? All the way.
Almost 800.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's let's say $5,000 per year, when initially it was way low, and the government could fund maybe 75%, and then you were only doing a part of it, let's say 25. Like, if you look at what we did with statistics, for those who went with government sponsored, you only paying, was it 20,000 Kenyan shillings? 16,000 Kenyan shillings. So that's approximately 40,000. 32,000 per year. But if you go check someone who is privately sponsored, they are paying more than 130,000 or close to 150,000.
Yeah, they are paying around 121,000 per semester.
Yeah, that is just tuition fee. You've not added other accommodation and all those.
Yeah.
So it has become costly to take these courses.
That's true.
When in fact there need to be motivation factors that are facilitating people to take these very important courses. Maybe that will be my take, and many more, of course, I can't take all the time.
Yeah, I think we have dived so fast into that topic of addressing the issue of STEM courses in Kenya. I was hoping we'll start with assessment first.
Well, I think we shall pick assessment
later,
as we go, because the way Stanley has introduced.
we have to.
We can talk of taking STEM courses, and then we combine with how do you assess a student who is taking STEM courses?
Yeah.
Because let's say in those STEM courses we just take technology or engineering, there are student who is taking some software development course and they need to run some code. How do you assess them, because they are easily likely to take copy a code from some AI tool and use it for their assessment.
Yeah.
So
And even in addition to that, maybe it's not that we have dived into that, but you see, taking the course also is can be affected by assessment. There are people who can be assessed the first assessment they drop out of a course because
They're scoring.
I mean, this happened even during our course. I think we studied more than 100.
Yes.
But as of the time we were in the 4th year,
People-
some had gone to public health.
others had dropped, others had a lot of retakes.
Yeah.
They
And
couldn't
then,
manage
and
the,
then
the,
you're
the
forced
course.
to go home.
Yes.
Yeah.
So also assessment can be an impact to how people take these courses, because if a wrong assessment is administered on a certain course, I believe it can drive people away, or it can make people lose morale.
Are you trying to claim? Are you trying to claim we received wrong assessments?
Sometimes there are lecturers who give wrong assessments, like
Don't mention names. You know you are about to mention
no,
names.
I don't mention names. But you see.
I don't know if I'm the one who's losing the conversation or you're the ones who are losing the conversation.
No, we are not losing the conversation because
we are talking about assessment in this situation. What are we referring to? Are we just referring to the process of assessment, or are we referring to now the integration of AI into academia and how it's going to be very hard to assess students, given that they're using AI?
I think
of course we want to talk about how we can maybe implement this AI or bring in AI when students are being assessed. But again, we are talking about how maybe the way the assessments are being done at the moment, and how it has been maybe affecting some other people, and maybe administering a wrong assessment to something you didn't teach, you see, is also a problem, because if you, for example, I'm in first year, and you are preparing an assessment for me that is equivalent to someone who is in 4th year, you are simply chasing some people away from this this course.
Okay, so that means we are having a general discussion about assessments, like as a whole, not just
I think before we come to assessments, let's delve into STEM courses.
Yeah, I think we should just exhaust the STEM courses first of all. Why we are having this challenge in Kenya, because it's a very concerning issue. Very concerning issue.
I think the major problem could be that the course is expensive, as Elias mentioned. However, I also think it's also a matter of also motivating those students to take these courses. I tend to think there's not enough motivation, especially to these people who are in high school, for them to take these courses. I know there are these maybe contests like Science Congress and Science contests where people can innovate, students can innovate something. But to what level, or how does the government or the Ministry of Education help these students to take this to another level? Or does it reward them so that someone can know, okay, this is the best course I can do, I can be rewarded? So if a student can be rewarded by just coming up with something small during that Science Congress or contest, then it will motivate other students to think, okay, I think this line of education is the best also for me, it can reward me. So that is just part of the reason why maybe some people don't do these courses. And then another thing,
I think before you move, when you say rewarding, I know there could be rewards that are going out to the best students who are innovating. And it's good that we are talking about the innovation aspect, because it was one of the key points I was considering, that are our STEM courses facilitating innovation. I know when I'm talking about motivation, maybe they are given some trophies. So the question will be, The question will be, is the motivation enough to proceed with your innovation mindset?
I think if I may just interject a bit to Stanley's input. I don't know if I've understood it right, because even me, I was having this a similar perspective regarding to the reasons as to why I believe STEM courses are not picking up very well in Africa or specifically in Kenya.
In Kenya, yeah.
Motivation. Okay, for me, the way I understand that idea of motivation is the same as what we see in the West, where we have these tech companies that usually like hold the economies of these countries. Yeah. So if you see see somebody who has pursued let's say a field, let's say like in computer science, and developed some softwares or an entire company around a software. These companies, you find that these CEO, they become very huge CEOs who are paid well. But if you come to the Kenyan context, we don't have that environment where you see people like in tech doing very, very well, like in life. Yeah, because I know if we just talk about the circle of friends we have can have friends who are computer scientists who are really struggling with life.
Yes.
Yeah, really struggling with life. Yeah.
They're asking for cleaning jobs.
Yeah, it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you see like motivation right now, the area where people find motivation right now, if you ask this young generation,
It's money.
they can say about being an influencer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're seeing influencers, they have cars,
they have good
life.
good life.
Yeah,
Fancy
lifestyle. But those ones who have undertaken these STEM courses,
they are living
they're struggling.
in abject poverty.
Abject
Some
poverty.
of them.
Is it because those guys who are really good in technical courses and they are making it in life, they don't show off? Because
It's not a matter of showing
it's
off.
not a matter of showing off, because if you have, you have. If you don't have, you don't
it's
have.
a matter of now being seen that
you might
there's an
not
impact.
be showing
yeah,
off.
that's part of what I'm saying, showing off.
You might
It's not
not be
showing
showing off. You might not be showing off
is a
as
very
such.
negative term.
But
Yeah, it is a negative term, but to show off that I have wealth.
no.
And you see, that is what our let's say our members of parliament or our politicians are doing, wearing some gold watches and driving around very big
Okay,
cars.
let me give you an example. Like if you go to the US, we know a company like Apple. Why do we know it? It's because it's one of the best companies when it comes to production of electronic devices.
electronic gadgets.
Gadgets, yeah. They produce the best computers, the best smartphones. Okay, it's debatable if it's the best, but very, very high quality smartphones, very high quality computers, very high quality softwares. Even now they've produced the Apple Vision Pro, which is very, very, very revolutionary.
I've also seen Samsung has produced something almost similar.
Even Facebook has something similar. Meta. Yeah. So we know it because of what it does, what the impact it has in the community. But do we know of other companies in Kenya that have similar impact? We don't.
So I think Safaricom has been the best in leading the innovation aspect. Of course, we look at Safaricom from M-Pesa. M-Pesa level. So I'm always afraid once politics meddle into Safaricom, I don't know what we'll have to be proud of as the best innovation that we have here.
Yeah.
And you see, and why is it that when maybe Safaricom maybe advertises for such opportunity, there is massive of applications. Everyone wants to work for Safaricom, but everyone can't work for Safaricom because basically you have done technology. So back to my point about motivation, because you were saying, do I think like the motivation is not sufficient? To me, it's not that the motivation is not sufficient. The motivation is not there. You giving me a trophy that is not helping me.
Yeah.
But it's a motivation
It's
for
a
those young,
motivation
for those
young, but it's not
for young, but not for driving.
but
the entire
for
thing.
driving the I'd rather when this for example, someone has invented something, what the government should do, I think we can continue to talk about how the government can help if someone has an invention in our next episode, so that we see how should the government motivate other than giving us trophies.
So before we left, Stanley was giving us his opinion on
Reward. Rewarding students.
Yeah,
to
rewarding.
STEM courses.
To take STEM courses.
Is the motivation enough at that level, or you're trying to say there is no reward?
There is reward, but to me the reward is not sufficient. And not just sufficient, it is not directed to help the inventors propel their ideas to another level. Someone might have an idea of maybe making a certain gadget. Let me say maybe a very simple idea. Maybe you want to make a locomotive or something like a locomotive. So when they go to the contest, they are awarded marks. Then they are given trophies. And rarely do they support them even financially. Very rare, on very rare occasions.
Is it okay? You can proceed because
I don't mean the motivation should be finance, but finance is also part of motivation. So, but to me, what I thought or my thinking would be, when someone has invented an idea, let the ministry or whoever is in charge help this student to propel that idea to another level. One, you can take this student to a company that is dealing with such kind in that line for them to get even an internship at that early stage. It doesn't matter if you are in high school. No, you can gain knowledge at that level, because if you can invent something at that level, it means if you are given a chance or an opportunity, you can do much better. So they be given an opportunity in those industries that do that kind of work. They also help them even go benchmark from other countries, like in the US, in China, because they are techno-savvy. They help these students to go benchmark in those countries, know what they are doing. Even the government can even offer a 3 months internship to these students to go in another country to try and look how well they can make the idea better than what it is. So you see that way, if like for example we have 100 students going to do this internship in those industries, maybe outside the country, this student will not come back and go and do maybe economics or do something like physical education. They will come with that knowledge to advance in institutions.
Will they even come back?
I was about to ask that question.
Coming back is another question. Coming back is another question, but the thing is, they are supposed to come back, because when you offer a program,
you're looking at it from your level that they are supposed to come back.
Because that issue of motivation also
should help
and reward.
Yes.
You know, my understanding of motivation and reward, it seems maybe it's a bit different from what you're mentioning. Because me, I'm not so much interested in what they're given in high school when they have performed very well in a science
those
context.
trophies.
Yeah, I don't give so much
attention to that.
Because my motivation is in terms of, do they have opportunities outside here when they have studied a course, let's say in engineering? Do they have an opportunity outside here to showcase their skills and be paid well, as engineers? So that's why I believe that's where the motivation is lacking. Because if you look at the US right now, you see the US right now has a very aggressive focus on things like data science right now. And they are rewarding their employees who are doing data science.
Data scientists very well.
They are paid very well. That's not the same case in this country. Because you can find a data scientist who is being paid, let's say, like 60,000, 70,000 a month. So if I'm
70,000, not dollars, but Kenya shillings.
Kenya shillings, not dollars a month. But if let's say I'm that data scientist who is making 70,000 shillings a month, how can I go and convince let's say like a brother of mine or a child of mine, like
to do
studying data science can give you a
leave alone even convincing. They see the
struggle.
kind of life you are living.
No. Could it be our own cultures, our own mindset as Kenyans and maybe Africans that stop innovation? Because there was someone who made a joke that that guy who tried to develop a chopper and it flew
Yeah.
for some minutes.
Yeah.
That person was ordered to be arrested. I don't know if it was a joke or it was serious.
It is serious, man. Those are serious issues.
But just in
Yeah.
case if it was true, that someone has made an effort to invent a chopper and it has actually flown
Yeah.
for some minutes.
Even if it can just fly for like 100 meters.
Yeah, it was some distance.
Yeah.
And instead of asking ourselves, how can we establish an industry, let's say, to do with ideas to develop choppers or airplanes, or how can we have a partnership with Boeing or
Yeah.
any other?
But you see what you're saying there, it goes back to motivation. We don't have an environment where we can encourage these people who have these brilliant ideas to showcase their skills.
Is our mindset so simple that we don't take something serious?
Yeah, that can be a very
Yeah,
valid
I
argument.
think we don't
Yeah.
take things serious, because if we were taking things serious as a country, we need to have even the hubs where
But we have one here. We have Chandaria.
you are talking of one. And
even
even that one.
itself, there's no enough
Yeah,
awareness about that.
I think I
hub.
took my idea
Even
there.
that
I
is-
took my idea there. I have personal experience when I
Yeah.
was in
Yeah, I
fourth
remember
year.
your idea.
I was doing quite well in trying to innovate. We were trying to extract ethanol from sewage. It was a very ambitious idea. And I'm happy that I could connect with some big brands. I connected with some guys from UK and from India. But surprisingly, here from Kenya, you mention it to someone, people
Push it
don't
down.
see sense.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was trying to go to the main center where we dump our sewage. I was told I need an approval letter from the Ministry of Environment and NEMA just to enter the gate. Leave alone booking an appointment with the person who is managing the place.
in a sewage.
Exactly.
So you see, there's there's a lot of bureaucracy, even even going into a sewage. So you then realize we are enemies of progress, because if someone wants to even help you, because that would have even helped to mitigate or
I would
to
not be
control
struggling like this. I would have been
sewage.
making a lot of money.
No, you're not struggling. You have a gold coated cup.
So the thing
But
is,
I will be better.
the thing is also the education system is not very motivative, because there should be, we are talking of only Chandaria. I only know about Chandaria Incubation Center in the entire country. I don't know any other.
I think the other hub which is being developed is Konza City, because it's going to be a technology.
It is being?
It's being developed.
Okay.
It's
But-
not-
but-
it's not
but
there.
it is not
Will
there.
that
Not
be a
there.
center to promote innovation, or
Yeah.
it will be a center for working?
It will be a center to promote innovation.
It is promoting,
Yeah.
but it's working, but as well promoting. Although it's now a techno service city, where most of the things will be done using technology
Yeah.
and run with technology.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we believe it will also help to educate people.
I have a feeling
in
that
matters-
place will just be busy with work.
in matters.
Have you ever
Even if it will be busy with work, it will have industries that have technology where
Yeah.
people can go learn, people can go work, people can go gain more knowledge.
But we are the same
in
people
terms
who are
of-
saying gaining access to some of these facilities, there's so much bureaucracy.
And that's
that's the problem.
And that's the problem. Now what I'm saying is the government needs to have more incubation centers, more hubs, so that even that person who is doing physics at high school level, because you will find some other topics even in terms of how to connect maybe this electricity. You are being taught in the book. There is someone in the village who has never even seen electricity. So this person, you are teaching them something they can't even see. But if
They can't even relate.
They can't even relate. So, but if you have a hub where you can take these students from that early level, and this hub should have experts. And these experts should be paid well for them to motivate other students. So that is where my point of motivation comes in. So because there is no that good motivation, most people, like what you said, most people think if I'm just an influencer, I can make money very fast, as opposed to going for a 5-year degree course in civil engineering.
And
I
start
come
tamarking here.
I tarmac for another 6 years, no job. Yet my friend who just did something in psychology or
leave alone your friend who did something. Your high school friend who is doing loyalty tests.
Yes,
he's writing
good. Yes, he's driving.
Psychology is a big course because you expect those people to make sure our mental health is in order for us to work.
Yeah, I'm just trying to tell you, even psychology is paying more than an engineer.
Yeah,
in some cases.
In this
or
country.
should we say in most cases?
But
now,
I haven't weighed in my opinion about
Okay,
all this. I'm giving you chances.
you've decided to support our ideas.
No, because I agree. I agree with what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're so lucky today. At least we're having consensus on issues.
No, we shall at some point debate. We have to debate.
Yeah, but let us debate on matters that deserve debating. On this one, I think I agree.
Okay.
I do agree that we have those factors that are really influencing the uptake of STEM courses in this country. And I strongly believe that motivation is one of the biggest reasons that is really making this industry suffer so much, because we don't have that space where we can see more of these people. Yeah, because I do like what US is doing. To be sincere, I do like what it's doing. Whenever they see an idea in among the STEM courses, they run so fast to finance it. They have all the mechanisms which have been put in place to make sure that this thing has really been developed very well and advanced to a stage where it's going to help people in the entire world. Because you can see what they have done with AI. You see now it's affecting the entire world. Yeah. So, but when it comes to the Kenyan context, that one is something that is very lacking. Because I have never seen. Okay, we have talked about Safaricom. Yeah, you have talked about. Actually, the thing that you have to focus so much on is just M-Pesa, which was developed. We believe it was developed by Kenya. But beyond that, there's nothing else you can say because Safaricom is also a foreign company from South Africa. So, do we have a situation? Do we have a situation here in Kenya where we are nurturing our own talents? Do we have that situation, or are we just busy nurturing other people's talents and innovations? We don't have that one. Thank you so much, and welcome back to our discussions. Yeah, so I was just sharing my opinions about some of the factors that I believe are influencing the slow uptake of STEM courses in Kenya. And so far so good. I do agree with what my friends here have already shared as some of the factors that they believe do influence the slow uptake of these STEM courses in this country. Yeah, so my belief, as I had mentioned, is that motivation is one of the biggest reasons as to why we have the slow uptake of these courses here in this country. So the other thing also that I believe that results in this situation where we are having this very few students who are going into these STEM courses is also funding. So let's say there's an example of a innovator. This thought has just come into my mind right now, because already Elias had mentioned about the guy who had constructed a helicopter. There's a guy who used to live in here in Githurai. I think he still lives there. He used to make electric wheelchairs using dead batteries from laptops. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of that guy. There's a guy who used to be in Githurai. So this guy was very good. He used to make very stable and very fast electric chairs, which can be used in the Kenyan terrain, which is in most cases you can find we don't have the proper tarmacking or proper pavement when you're moving from one point to the other. That wheelchair was so robust and so durable in this environment, which are quite rugged. It was so shocking for me to see that this guy never received any sort of funding or any sort of support from the government.
Yeah.
Because I believe that this industry, if there was somebody who was there to fund this guy, there was a high potential for helping in terms of recycling
Yes.
and also generating jobs and creating a product which can work in our environment and
Yeah.
also most
And-
parts of Africa.
And even
Yeah.
improving on it.
And even improving on it. So it's you can find us. We are going to a very expensive extent of importing wheelchairs, electric wheelchairs, which are being built outside, bring them to this country. Wheelchairs that are very difficult for poor people to purchase. Yeah, but the wheelchair this guy was constructing in here in Githurai. He used to test them in Kasarani Stadium there. They were quite good. They were quite good. So that's the other thing that usually stalls this uptake of STEM courses, because the government does not even give interest in these endeavors. Because if the interest was there, if the funding was there was this one could be an encouragement. Imagine if that was could have become a company. Imagine if Kenya was building their own electric chairs and exporting them.
So would you
Yeah.
blame the government or would you blame our poverty?
I do blame the government.
Maybe they have so many needs and then they need to balance. And you see, you can't. Let me try to speak on behalf of government. Assuming,
Devil's advocates.
Yes.
assuming
Speak for the government.
Assuming that's
Yeah.
what runs through the people
Yeah.
in those offices.
Yeah.
That we have people, let's say, they need to fund the overall education system.
Yeah.
Buying of resources, books,
Yeah.
and other resources that are used in class.
Yeah.
Let's say the management, administrative roles, functions in schools, they need to give some funding towards that. So those are kind of priority. Now you see, an invention, it's taking a risk. Taking a risk that I can put 10 million in this idea and then it just collapses once. But now recurrent expenses, you are aware, you're sure that these will be used to fund this and this will happen. So could we be in a situation where we are just poor and we don't have enough money, that you can't risk to put money where you don't know the results, the uncertainty that are
No,
involved?
I don't think. I don't think.
Answer first.
I don't think that's the case, because why does the government do budget and why does it plan?
It budgets because it wants to use the money it has appropriately.
How appropriate is using the money? You can't say
Appropriate is trying to use that
No,
money in
you
a
can't
way that
sit
you
it
will,
on the streets.
you
you
can't-
will use
you-
the money where it will.
No, you
give
can't say
immediate results.
recurrent expenditures is appropriate using of funds. That is nothing. You
can't say it's
you
nothing.
budget.
You can't say it's nothing when you need to pay.
You need to pay them,
employees.
but where will you get the money tomorrow to pay them? If
You will still
keep on-
budget.
If you keep on paying the current budget, I don't think that is a best approach to this. Because when the government is budgeting, there's money for invention and innovation and
Assuming
all
there is one.
not assuming it's there. It is there because it must be there. Any
Yeah.
government has to plan for innovation. It is there. It's
That's for
only
the growth
that.
of the country.
Yes, that's where the country grow from, because
I mean, we don't grow from manufacturing cars and other electric products. We grow from sale of agricultural products. So do we need invention?
But
Even in agriculture, there is invention,
If you just
in
focus on one
innovation.
industry, that's having tunnel vision.
yeah, and
Because-
that's why we are still
Yeah.
struggling, because we are only focusing our minds on agriculture and not thinking we can invent and innovate. So we put money into innovation, but people take this money into their pocket. They don't support these ideas, and that's why we don't grow. Because you can't tell me that there's no money for because this innovation will, in the long run, create employment. And this employment is the one which will.
That's the point that he was missing.
But
And
who
this-
thinks about long term when you have current problems that need to be addressed using the small money that is
Every
there?
government should always think
yes,
long term.
about long
Yeah.
term.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
thinking long term about how to improve our agricultural sector.
And you see, yes, you see something there. You see that investing in these innovative ideas is taking a risk. isn't investing in agriculture,
In agriculture,
also taking a risk?
It's a big risk
It's like-
because
yeah.
the other time you saw a swamp of locusts,
which infest
coming
the entire
into
country.
How many
into
times a
this
swarm
country.
of locusts appear in the
If
country?
it's not swamp of locusts, we have droughts.
we have pests
We have many other problems.
and many other problems.
Yeah.
So in Kenya, normally what we see every year is people dying of hunger.
Yeah.
Why?
When we reach the dry season, let's say even this February or towards the start of March,
Yeah.
we shall see a lots of I don't know, animals are falling and
Yeah.
children don't have water, and then you see the same thing. You can easily predict
Yeah.
somewhere in August, September.
So-
Now the government is always worried that the little money we have, let's buy maize from Brazil.
So you are you are even contradicting yourself.
No, I'm not
because-
contradicting myself. I'm telling you, the government doesn't have enough money that it will
Invest in innovation.
some uncertain invention that you're trying to come up with.
But Elias, you miss.
But you
also-
can easily buy maize and feed the public.
For how
and you
long?
forget.
For how long will
you
we
do it
continue
every year?
To
But-
no, that is wrong. That is
Elias,
wrong.
you're missing the
So-
bigger picture here. Yeah, you're looking. You're sort of like focusing on some small problems that we're having, and also missing the bigger picture.
It's focusing on the current problem
and also
of
small,
today.
only one particular
One line.
problem. Because you see, on top of food insecurity, we have unemployment issues. Isn't that a huge problem in this country?
It is a big problem.
A very big problem. And how can we solve this problem? Because the reason why we are having starvation in this country is also because we have a huge amount of unemployed people.
Yes.
Yeah, if you can bring employment to these people, and I know if we invest in STEM courses, we'll be able to employ a huge number of people in this country.
Yeah. So let's I don't want to deviate from that point.
Yeah.
But we are saying we invest in STEM courses.
Yeah.
And initially when we were starting, I asked a simple question: should everyone do coding? And
No,
then
But you're asking only one aspect of the entire-
and
Yeah.
which is also an important aspect. Of
Not coding alone as such, because even that coding itself,
Yeah.
the government has not invested in it that much.
At some point, children are given smaller
Where?
laptops.
Where those who are toys,
And how many schools were given?
and those toys, I don't think if they are still in I didn't see one.
Yeah.
You were
I
supposed
used
to
to
walk
see them
around.
on
There
TV.
were some that were
I used to
distributed
Are they
see them-
around.
working?
You see them on TV,
Yeah.
but literally I've never seen
So
them.
now you see that was an ambitious project of.
So where did the money for buying those laptops come from?
Also,
I think that
to critique that view
I
of yours,
think the government sought funding from external.
Why don't
let
they
me critique that,
Yeah.
that
And
view
you
of
see the
yours.
project
Yeah.
failed. So that is proving the point.
Somebody
that
failed the project.
The
So-
project
no.
was meant to fail from the word go.
Yeah, you can't.
Somebody failed the project.
No. So are you trying to say every project that we shall invest in that will be meant to facilitate promotion of it will meant to facilitate uptake of STEM courses,
Yeah.
it will be meant to fail in the end. And
No,
therefore, if
no.
that's the case, then why should we put our money
The project
there?
was meant to fail
Yeah.
because it was not properly organized. You can't give a class one
A class one kid a laptop.
It was not
Yes,
a laptop. It was
a toy.
a tablet that will help kids to get accustomed to
No, those
using
were toys.
those
You
gadgets.
you can only give a form one. I'd rather you give a form
So,
one.
so, so,
one
the,
student.
so the
Yeah.
government
The
took
laptop.
45 billion or how much was it
Yeah.
to buy toys for children?
The children herself or
It was a
him
campaign-
or
it was a
herself
campaign thing.
does not
Yeah.
know
But
even
it
what
was,
a
it
laptop
was a
is.
campaign thing, but
Yeah.
it was late implemented.
It was really, but it failed
It was
like
it
very
was
badly.
Now,
it was-
should the future governments
Yeah.
take the risk of buying tablets for children just to promote uptake of STEM courses? Let's say we are buying those gadgets to help them start understanding that you can type a code and a command and then you get a specific result or outcome, and that is now preparing them to be let's say computer scientists.
Let me just give you a response there. Felix. Yeah, I know. At the end of the day, we really want to see this country have a very huge side of people taking this courses, these STEM courses. But you have to have a plan. You have to have a plan which is implementable, which is feasible, which can work.
Who is supposed to do the plan?
The government. That is
And
the work
the
of the
government
government.
is made of politicians.
I think even
Yeah.
what the government would have done instead
Yeah.
of buying those toys to those students,
Yeah.
the government would have created, built at least one lab, computer lab in each institution and install it with functional computers, because
Yeah.
sometimes government build this
But
laboratories
because of
and-
poverty,
and-
we're also
and they
going to
install
the
it.
same institutions and breaking in and stealing the
Who
laptop.
said they break in? There's security.
It happened already.
No, don't look at one case. They did not create these laboratories.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my school where I was,
Yeah.
there is another organization, I forgot the name, that came and they built a laboratory. And they equipped that laboratory with computers. Nobody stole the computers. Those people who are doing computer were using it although they were few, but they were using it. So it kind of brought about computer literacy. At least everyone who passed through that school, for one good or the other reason, they were computer literate. So the thing is, instead of buying those things, I call them toys, and I'm not sorry to say toys. They would have built a laboratory, they equip it with computers, then everyone who will be passing through that institution will learn from those computers. So just coming back to these STEM courses, I think now to a large extent, the government has failed, and
let's say the government fails. It puts
Yeah.
in money, the money is lost. People steal the money. Now let's look at it from home. Have parents failed in motivating their children to take these technical courses?
According to me, I believe parents haven't failed that much. I can't blame parents so much.
Why?
Yeah, because most of our parents, they come from a different age.
And some didn't even go to
Didn't even
school.
go to
They're not
school.
even
The same
Yeah.
way the people in government come from a different age.
No,
No.
You see, a government. Let me respond to you. There's no
Government should have
government. There's no
experts.
government that does not have proper expertise
Yes.
for different issues.
Different
Because
areas.
if the government does not prepare itself like that, then there's no government. Yeah. You can find a small child from China just coming to take over the country because you don't have such a system in place. So every government has set up system in place to ensure that the country is also at par with the other countries all over the world. So we cannot make a risk of running a government which does not understand things like now AI, which you're discussing here, the significance of STEM courses and other important issues to the country. So we cannot have such a situation.
You're
the
saying
government-
we cannot have such a situation, but we already have such a situation.
What I'm saying is that we have a government which does not understand how to handle this situation. We have people in government who are well equipped. We have very good people inside there, but they have the top leadership has their own vested interests. If they could they could have proper planning and say, let us look at this issue of STEM courses. Why do you have a very low uptake? How can you change this situation here? And start setting up structures targeting the relevant groups which can really bring this, can really surge this progress. Then we could have been seeing a very different case. But the problem is the top leadership, maybe they have their own issues which they think it's
Okay, let's forget about their own vested interests. Should high school students who are transitioning to university be forced to take some of the STEM courses? By STEM, we mean science, technology, engineering and mathematics.
So
can you force someone to take mathematics?
you know, this thing starts, also high school has effect because it also starts there. You'll find an institution that has only something like biology being the only compulsory science subject. So they don't encourage people to take science, and you can't take a STEM course without having some of these science courses. You can't do maybe electrical engineering without having physics. just for example. So you drop physics in high school because maybe they didn't encourage you. Then you think you are going to do something like electrical engineering. I don't think there is an institution that will enroll you
So
for that.
should they force
So
students?
they should not force. That's where the motivation comes from.
Yeah.
They should motivate, not force. You can't force me to do what I don't want. I'll fail.
And the
I'll
motivation,
fail.
the motivation you're already saying it's not enough.
In my institution, before when I joined Form 1, the guys who are in Form 4 had been forced to do all the three sciences, that is biology, chemistry, and physics. It was horrible because some people were being forced on a subject they don't want. And this impact, because institutions also look at the performance, this also impacted the performance
Of the
of the entire school. And more so, it affected a student who was good in history, whose line was becoming a lawyer. You are forcing them on physics, yet it's not going to help them. So the issue is not to force, but the issue is to try to nurture from the early age. When someone comes to Form 1, make this subject enjoyable. And also, teachers, you should make subjects enjoyable. Don't just administer because you have to administer.
But by nature, those teachers who do technical physics, chemistry, they don't have the innate ability to make enjoyable lessons.
Nah.
For them, they focus on the content, and this is true even with engineers.
Not all teachers.
Not all, but majority. I would
Majority,
say majority of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
And even we see this with engineers. Engineers, they are direct to the point. They don't want to put some aesthetics to what they are saying.
But yeah, regarding that question which you have asked, should STEM courses be forced on students? I believe what should be done is just creating an enabling environment that will encourage students to take these courses. You see, the best way to create this enabling environment is also through entertainment. I have to mention that because I've seen how it has influenced the American culture. Because you see, when you watch movies like Interstellar, Interstellar, the amount of scientific brains and thoughts that have been put into this movie, and the way this director made sure, I think the director is Christopher Nolan, the way he made sure that the movie aligns perfectly with scientific facts, it's also a motivating factor. Because whenever I watch that movie, it encourages me and it helps me to understand better the science behind everything. If we do that in this country, we create an enabling environment by creating content and educating children at a very young age. It's going to have an impact, and that is what we are seeing happening in China. The reason why there's a very huge surge of students enrolling for STEM courses in China is because they have done that. They have created an environment where they're encouraging students to take these STEM courses. TikTok, as you know it, TikTok is different in other parts of the world compared to China. The TikTok that is being used in China is not the same. The one which is being used anywhere
for the audience who don't know, what do they have unique that we don't have?
So in China, kids do have access to TikTok. But when they're going to view these TikTok videos, it's not the same videos that we see them outside here. They access videos which have educational value. So they can be seeing maybe somebody explaining what is a black hole, maybe explaining some concepts about physics, maybe let's say like electricity, how you can generate electricity using a dynamo. It is very educative. So if you give a child a phone and then they go to access their TikTok account, they're only going to learn something. So this one, as they grow up, they'll start embracing this. They'll start embracing this culture of tech, innovation, and all that.
Okay, maybe at some point we shall critique that
strategy.
That strategy, because content on TikTok is done by people, by the audience, right? So who is creating content for the kids in China? And in our case, everyone, like I can wake up, open my phone and create content. Does it mean the government is stopping some content from going on TikTok?
In the case of China, there's a huge amount of government control. yeah, it has its own negative values. But if you look at the bottom line of this entire debate, you'll see that it is more beneficial to have such a structure in place, because now you're raising kids who can really be of value to the society, than raising a kids who want to be influencers. Because if all of us become influencers, how are we going to help each other?
What are we influencing?
What are you influencing? How are we going to help each other? Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we become innovators, we're going to help each other.
Yeah. So I think that's a good discussion, because the reason why we are insisting on this STEM course is we want people who will be able to work hand in hand with this AI thing we are talking about, or rather be in a position to even challenge what AI is doing in terms of innovation. Because as much as AI is being developed, the more it advances, the more it becomes a kind of threat to someone who does not have this knowledge, or to a country that lacks this expertise in this with these STEM courses. So somebody might wonder why
the debate around STEM courses?
Debate around STEM courses, but I think that's the major thing, because we are looking away at a way in which we will be able to handle this genie that is in the market, and we can't handle this genie without experts. We need experts. We need people who have know-how in terms of technology. We need people who are able to go an extra mile in terms of innovation, in terms of coming up with new things that will counter this AI thing in such a way. So I think with that in mind, I think we can also talk about the assessment.
Before we come to assessment, there is something that I would really like to connect here. If you look at a software developer in the States, you'll find them driving around sports cars because they have a lot of money. Okay? And that sounds to me like someone who is just not employed somewhere, but running their own entity. So is our own education system facilitating the innovation and invention of things, or is it just focusing on I finish and then I look for employment in a big company?
Yeah, I think my opinion on regarding that question is that I have also been interrogating the education system of our country. I believe we grew up with the 844 system. Yeah, it was quite a good system. Yeah, but I can criticize it because I believe it had major flaws. Because if you can look at most of the unemployed, educated youth or people, most of us, when we finish campus, our first thought was, I want to look for a job.
Where can I drop my CV?
When can I drop my CV? So, like, this system was more of training us to be employers, more than innovators, and also it trained us to be employees, more than training us to be innovators and employers. I do think that there's some things that need to be done to improve our system. I don't know if CBC is going to make it possible, because I have not understood completely how the CBC works. But there's a way I see the system has been structured in a way that it's possible to start nurturing this idea of people creating their own jobs, because now they're being given the tools that are going to make them being self-sufficient. So that's what I do believe. The previous system was training us to be employees more than employers, and we need to change that completely.
Because if I always think about this, Amazon, Apple is just one company, and it has such a massive impact. So this
Amazon is different, Apple is different.
Of course, I'm trying to say Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, X now. They are just single companies, but the effect is so massive. So that sounds to me like if you just have 10 inventors in the country, you will have so much.
Exactly.
You don't need 1,000 people to invent and develop their own company.
And that's and I'm happy you agree to our point that money for invention should be set aside.
Very, very important.
With the government, because you are the one who is saying if we only have one, then we are going to be very far.
I'm not saying that we still disagree, because I did not say. What did I say, by the way? I did not say.
We talked about priorities. Government is focused on the priorities like
Yeah.
agriculture.
So you see,
current
we were talking. You
expenditure.
on your side, you are saying even if money is put there, then people sift on the money. And on my side, I was trying to argue that maybe we have other priorities. You need to eat before you go to class. You understand?
I understand.
For you to invent something, you must have something in your stomach so that you're thinking
But
upright.
Elias, you understand the budget of the
But-
country.
but-
we have
but-
some funny projects which are not are less beneficial, or let me not call funny, but projects which are not very important,
Yeah.
like the SGR. For me, that's according to my opinion. I believe SGR was not as important.
Okay, let's
as
let's
the president-
let's-
as the
let's-
president's
let's-
courses.
You see, any
Yeah.
government that is on the track to feed its people with
Yeah.
food
Yeah.
is bound to fail and become poor the rest of its life.
Yeah.
Any government that is promoting technology and innovation
Yeah.
will succeed. You can't say for how long will you feed people. Even this country itself, we were talking about agriculture and people are dying of hunger. We got to
Yeah.
recently we were
Yeah.
suffering because we can't get wheat from Ukraine.
From
Because Ukraine is
But
fighting.
that's-
So
that's-
you
that's-
can't say even Kenya we are good in agriculture. We are not good in agriculture. We are not
That's-
good.
Actually,
That's a very sorry state, by the way, because
they say give me a fish and it'll feed me for one day.
Yes.
Show me how to fish
and I'll fish the rest of my life. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to comment on what you say that maybe could it be that our system is just maybe bringing out graduates that are dependent. To me, I think yes. I tend to agree because sometime I was talking to another guy who is working in an electrical company, and he was telling me there's a guy an engineer who came for internship here, and he is a graduate from XX university. And I've been teaching this guy how to connect very simple things. It seems he doesn't understand. He has the theory in his head, but on the
putting it
ground,
practically,
so he was telling me,
so
this
they are
Yeah.
taught how to manage.
no, they are taught theory.
So that means
So-
graduates, engineering graduates are taught how to manage, let's say, diploma workers
Yes.
who
So,
are doing
so he was telling me, yes, when I go to the board with this guy, he has a lot of theory in his head.
A lot of things to say.
He can explain to me, but when you go to the ground and I tell him, what is this? The guy can't even
And you see-
know how to connect a simple thing.
it comes it comes back to the issue that you're raising. The system is flawed, and you can see another good example is those students who went to Israel. I think you have known about those students who went to Israel through these agricultural courses, the agile courses. When they came back, what did they do? Each one of them went on to start their own farming business. That is the type of education that we want.
Yeah.
Because we don't need this country does not need to import food. This country needs to produce its own food. We have a lot of land. Kenya, 80% of the land is Asal region, arid or semi-arid. Only 20% is arable.
arable, yeah.
Yeah. So these Asal regions, they need to be converted into arable land, and it's just using the knowledge that is acquired from the STEM courses that can help us materialize this dream of converting the Asal regions to arable land.
Thank you so much. So this sounds to me like for us to realize the benefits of a country that takes STEM courses, then we need, let's say, the curriculum in our universities to stop teaching people from about being managers and I don't know leaders, but people can actually do themselves. I don't need to orders to or not to instruct someone on how to make this cup.
Yeah.
I
When
need
you
to know,
yourself,
when
you
myself I
can't.
can't.
You
So
can't,
I need
yes.
first of all myself I know how to make this cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when I have people working under me, when they are making a mistake,
You
You
can
show them.
easily
I can
You demonstrate.
say,
Yeah,
demonstrate
how it's supposed to be done.
this is
Yeah.
how it's done. And I
Yeah.
think that's the true leadership
Yeah.
we need.
because
That's the true-
there's nowhere
true
you go
learning.
to manage people when you can't demonstrate.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need
Yeah.
to demonstrate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the problem is we don't have that capacity. Universities or institutions are teaching based on theory. You just give people theory
Yeah.
and you think theory is going to help them and they tell you now go look for a job.
That's why you can find even a lecturer in business.
Yes.
Living in poverty.
Yes,
Yeah.
in ghetto.
Yeah, and
they
he's
are
a lecturer
very-
in business.
and
And what about an innovation center in every county?
Very, very key.
Yes,
Very,
that's
very,
what
very
we
key.
were talking about, having hubs.
You need to have those hubs.
Instead of buying toys to give every student,
Yeah.
you put a hub. You put up a hub or something like that. It will help the
because
community.
Contour City will be one.
Yeah.
And I'm still doubting if it will be used to promote innovative ideas. It will
Don't doubt that one.
it will just be a place to work.
It's a government plan.
If we have innovation centers, let's just say one per county. That's 47 in our country.
Yeah.
And then people are being encouraged to go to these places and just invent anything. They say the best inventions are the most stupid ideas that you'll ever come across.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you just encourage your kids to visit there every weekend instead of going to
Yeah, and
create TikTok
and
content.
even
Content,
present
yeah.
there and even just present there their ideas to some experts who are there. They can listen.
Yeah.
Maybe there are some ideas children might have, or these people in high school might have, that you can develop on. They don't know how to go about it. So
And then I think at this point, study analytics, because we are the guys,
Yeah.
we shall be discussing behind the camera how we can participate in this. Going
Yeah,
to
it's
some
quite critical. It's
going
quite
to
critical.
some institutions and start promoting
people to encouraging and
Yeah.
promoting people to take this.
let's say to come and do
courses, yeah.
statistics or
And, al-
computer
and
science.
also we can also be pinpointing some issues that we have in the country that need solutions.
Yeah,
maybe they need engineering solutions, and then we ask engineers, how can we solve this one?
Yeah.
Then people come with the engineers come up with the ideas. Then
Yes,
then the
yes.
best idea wins, and then we do something about it.
What about the
Yeah.
assessment? Someone who's taking software engineering, maybe, I mean, let's just take our own example. When in our first year, we did, what was this programming language? Pascal?
Yeah, Pascal.
Data structures.
Yeah.
And then the exam was, you write some code. I knew nothing. So you write some code, and it should work on that desktop.
The worst thing is, the reason why I said sometimes I don't agree with this assessment. You can't tell me to go and write a code on paper. Will it? Is it funny?
But also
that's good.
But also that's being done in these big companies. When you go,
It's good. It's good to do that.
Yes, it is good. Yes,
gain mastery
it is
of the
good.
code.
Yes,
Yeah.
but as a lecturer, you come in class. You write the code on the board. I remember this data structure thing. With a lot of capital letters.
Yeah.
That's not on.
You're writing a data structure code that has never been through tested, or you don't know even if
It has never run in a computer.
It will never run.
It only runs on the board, and then you rub.
And then you rub. So then you give me also an exam using the same techniques. You want me to write? Definitely, I'll just cram that code and put it on the paper for you, because.
Or I'll use Mwakenya.
Even
Mwakenya is a very bad idea.
Even if I don't encourage Mwakenya, you'd rather cram. You'd rather cram.
But cramming is for the sake of passing that exam.
Because already
that's why I'm telling you, you're being programmed to become employers.
And cramming, what is the
Employees,
difference?
sorry, not employers.
What is the difference between cramming and
because let me tell you the reason
Mwakenya?
why people are cramming. Leave alone Kenya, we are not promoting that. The reason
And
why people,
are we promoting cramming?
we are not promoting cramming, but the education system has promoted that. You know why? Education system in Kenya has been meant to pass exams. If you didn't write that code on data structures on that paper and get maybe
I
good
think
marks,
I got a D or a C.
you could get a retake.
Yeah.
Why,
So,
why are you watching your dirty linen?
People should see that
He was not even able to cram, despite the fact.
And he had no more Kenya.
And he had no more Kenya. So
you see the fact that I failed, but right now I can claim that I'm a data scientist or someone who's on a journey to be a good data scientist. It means
it means the assessment was wrong.
Yeah, of
from
course.
the start.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying the assessment in this.
So how can
country
we make
be
it
wrong.
right? How can we make it
To
right?
make it right, it's number one to have teachers who understand that particular concept and subject. Number one, because there are some teachers who are in this profession to make money.
So no. Let's stop there for a moment. Are we saying our teachers have not updated their skills in the specific courses? Some, or are we saying by saying someone who understands the course should teach, then are we trying to say we should go in those big companies, tech companies, and pull out the managers and tell them go to the university and teach, or just the current teachers to update their skills?
To change the training system first. You train teachers practically, they will go to teach students practically.
We are
You
assuming
train teachers theoretically, they will pass the theory, because if I train you how to write a code on paper, you've never written it in a computer to see if it's running. You will also come and teach me how to write it on paper using a book. But if I train you how to write it and even give you a real life scenario or case study where you even go to a company and you see how this code is going to help company X to solve this problem, then you will know, okay, I don't just need to teach these students how to write this code, but I need to teach them how this code is going to solve different problems in different areas of our industry or of technology. So the problem is right from how
teachers are trained.
Teachers are trained, number one, and then number two, having people who don't have passion. You know, sometimes even in this country, you go to COOPs. Right now it's COOPs.
From JAB.
Yes, they're from JAB. That time it was JAB. Let me say JAB because I used to JAB. I went to JAB, put in this course. I want to do this course. They just don't analyze what I want. They throw me to something else. Yet, if you look at the qualification, maybe I have qualified for that thing and maybe I have passion in it. But because they don't want to put me in that course, they throw me in a different course. That could also be a problem because maybe JAB or COOPs at the moment could not be placing people to where their passion is. I'm not saying they just throw people anyhow, but you look at, has this person qualified to do this course? If this person has qualified to do electrical engineering, why are you throwing this person to do law? Or why are you throwing them to do maybe another course when they have really applied to do?
I think you've deviated a little bit. We were on the assessment. Amos, you
Yeah.
had something to say before Stanley finished.
That topic for me is a bit nuanced because I remember the first time when we were discussing about assessment, we were discussing it with regards to AI. Yeah, because now we have AI which is being incorporated to learning in classrooms in other parts of the world. Now, how do we assess students given that now they're going to be using AI to assist them in
their learning process?
In the learning process. So that was my perspective when we're discussing about assessment. I didn't know we wanted to discuss it at large. Like, what is a stand with regards to?
Yeah, we are building foundation on what is happening
right now
for us to mitigate on what we can do, because you can't assume history and think you will succeed. You will use history to forecast, or you use history to solve the mistakes you did in the past for you to get solutions to the problems that are ahead of us.
Okay. Now, if you want us to look at assessment at large in this country, I think we have a very huge focus on examinations. We have a very huge focus on passing exams, and a person is regarded as successful if they're able to pass the examination.
Yeah,
Yes.
success after his schooling.
Okay, when you're given an exam and you pass,
Yeah.
let's say if you're talking about that Pascal problem, if you're given an exam and you pass that exam, people say that you're very good with
Can it,
software.
do we say successful or do we say intelligent or rather bright?
We can term it the way you will,
Successful in
but
education.
Yeah, in terms of
maybe.
success.
Yeah.
Because you see, even when it comes to KCSE, the person who scores the most, we cause that success.
The most
Academic
celebrated.
success.
The
yeah.
most
The most
Yeah.
successful.
Academic success. So then that begs the question: what are we really looking for? What are we after? Are we after just passing the exams, or are we after understanding the processes that go through that are supposed to be undertaken in tackling a particular problem or understanding how a particular problem is solved. So for me, I believe the best way to fix this issue of assessment is to be able to make sure that students understand the process that is involved in whatever they're studying. For instance, when you're talking about programming, it's not just about regurgitating what you've learned. Just going there and just saying, okay, it's supposed to be this.
You replicate what you are taught on the paper.
On the paper. It's about now understanding how the entire thing works. What is programming? How does this language work? When was it constructed? How was it constructed? Why was it constructed in this particular manner? So that at least if somebody asks me a question from whatever direction, I can answer. Because based on the structures that we have, if somebody asks you a question from a different angle, you might struggle because you don't understand the process. What you understand, what you know is just regurgitating what you've been taught.
And that's why sometimes you'll find if a student has been taught how to write a program that can compute a mean of maybe this number of students using Pascal language. But if you tell this student now, you give them a computer and tell them, write for me a program that can compute now the standard deviation, they can't. Because they only know that I learned how to calculate mean. So I think that is now the problem we are having. So having more practical approach, and even in assessment.
And a learning that is based on understanding, not passing exams.
Yes.
Because if you can, I do have a very good friend from high school who was very good when it comes to cramming, very impeccable. But now when even me at some point I did used to cram. But if you ask me a question like they say 2 weeks after exams, I'll just look at you like you're asking something I've never heard of, which is very bad.
How can we measure understanding then?
Understanding by doing things practically.
Yes.
Yeah, that's understanding.
I can cram how to run a code and then I do believe that I've understood it.
So the thing is this. The educator should not be focusing on you passing the exams. The educator should be focusing on you understanding what is going on.
Do you understand this?
Do you understand how this
Do you
goes?
understand this line of code?
And if the best way to see if somebody understands is by trying to come with sort of problems and asking
different problems.
Practical.
Exactly. And because there was one joke which was used to go around, like. Our college professors and also the lecturers, not all, okay, a good number of them, they do teach their students, but most of them don't even believe in their students.
What they are teaching.
Yeah, because if a lecturer in engineering takes a plane, or boards a plane, and he or she hears that plane was built by his or her student, he will immediately alight.
Because he doesn't trust.
He doesn't trust that student. There's no way that student can make a plane for him.
But you see, a teacher knows their learners better than anyone else.
But now that's the problem. We should not be having such situations. We should have situations where even professors are confident in
they are proud of what their students have developed.
Exactly. Because they
and you know, even that in that scenario, you see. The fact that a professor has taught you to do something does not mean that you can surpass him or her.
Exactly.
You can go over and above what he did, because some of these professors are being taken with the current of like these AI things we are talking about. Some of them, this thing has overtaken them completely. So you can't say they use the same techniques they were using to teach the current generation. So the current generation will surpass them and go even far much and do better things. So I think what you have said in terms of making this more practical could be a better way, especially for this for the STEM courses we were talking about. If someone is doing something like civil engineering, don't just give them theory in the class. Take them on the ground. Try to give them a project that they can start from the initial stage until it's done, and you assess and see how is the understanding. ask them to even try if it's civil engineering. They want to maybe do a road somewhere.
Yeah.
Tell them to try and come up with maybe is it a plan or something like that on how they think that road can be built, and maybe put it in practice. That should be part of the total marks that these students will earn. Because if you just teach someone theory and they go into the field, they don't know what's happening in the field. Maybe because currently some of the companies are not looking at your theory. You go to a company and they you want to do an interview and they give you a machine. Write a code that can run this. Yet you have never written that code. So you are smart in the mind, but you can't write any code. So this company will not hire you, not because you don't know anything, but because you cannot put what you learn
into practice.
And you have to encourage critical thinking. Because
critical thinking was a course we did.
Not just
critical
the
creative.
We read it as a course, but critical thinking is a lifestyle. It's a way of life. It's not just a course you study, and that's where you go wrong. That's where you go wrong. Critical thinking is not supposed to be like a lesson. It's supposed to be a lifestyle.
How will it become a lifestyle if you don't learn it in class?
You learn it in class, but you don't take it as a course. You take it like something that you have supposed to develop into.
So it's integrated in every
aspect of learning. Not just like a course, one course like that. Let it be everywhere. Because you see like when COVID came to this country, I was very appalled and very embarrassed by the performance of our government, because whichever action the government was telling its citizens to take, it was based on news that are coming from the US, from CDC. We have Cambridge. We have institutions in this country that are supposed to be doing medical research. Why do we have to wait for communication to come from the US? Can't we just allow our specialists to go to the lab and develop their own suggestions and recommendations in taking this action?
Maybe they don't have resources and the CDC has all the funding from the government and therefore they have the right answer.
I think when it comes to communicable diseases, we don't have to use very expensive tech. Yeah, it's a bit commonsensical. Yeah, it's a bit, even for a layman like me, it's a bit commonsensical. Yeah, so I don't know if you still have time. Okay. Yeah, so even now, look at this country right now. When it comes to civil engineering, we literally like import all the skills from outside.
Yeah, the Chinese are constructing all the roads, even in the villages.
And you see, we are all the technology that we use in developing these roads, it's foreign. Do you mean that we can't even develop our own technology? Because more than 2,000 years ago, Romans, they had developed solutions for themselves. You mean a 2,000-year-old Roman is smarter
than
okay, that's even embarrassing. That's even embarrassing.
Yeah, because we don't encourage critical thinkers. We encourage people who just want to be told, do this, then they do. They don't want to think on their own and say, okay, what if you approach this problem from this direction? What if you try this one as a solution? What will you receive? That is what we need to be pumped into the education system and stop focusing on the examinations alone. That is not the best metric to measure to measure the academic success in students.
So in other countries like Germany, I know they do what we call vocational training, where you just focus on skills. It's actually a very important aspect of the education system. Here we had started well with technical institutes, particularly focusing on diploma courses. But again, I understand with the new government there has been reduced funding. I wish we could do better in that aspect, because vocational training, where you just focus on skills, it can be a good platform for people to develop things, develop companies, to create jobs, rather than to be the employees. I don't know if we have any other matter that is remaining, or we can.
On that issue, maybe a contribution, just a contribution. On that issue, because we discussed about about agriculture, lack of food, food insecurity in this country, which is a perennial issue. Every year we are going to experience it. It's so embarrassing. And you see, this country has so many graduates, so many learned people with degrees and masters, diplomas, even PhDs. Singapore uses 100% seawater. Does not depend on rainfall or water drilled from boreholes. How comes Kenya we are not focusing on developing technologies for desalinating water from Indian Ocean? Because Indian Ocean has unlimited supply of water. There is no way somebody can come and stop you and say, do not drain the ocean. You cannot drain an ocean.
You can't.
Yeah. Why do we struggle so much with lack of water and lack of food when we can focus our energies and expertise and all the knowledge that has been acquired by students in, let's say, like engineering, instead of taking it all this energy to finding solutions to this water problem? Because if you just find a cheaper way of converting seawater into drinkable water, we will just completely get rid of food insecurity in this country, because we have so much land which is unexploited.
Even so, I think Kenya has a good number of variety sources of water, not just water, but pure water. That's clean water for irrigation and for farming. In fact, the source of White Nile and Black Nile that goes to Egypt is Lake Victoria, and Egypt is only using that river to do farming in that country.
Vegetable and fruits, yeah.
We have a lot of rivers here. We have River Tana, we have that lake which has fresh water. We have so many sources, tributaries that have fresh water, but we are not making use of it. So maybe this AI thing will come up with a solution.
Are we waiting for AI to develop a solution, or should we
should not wait for AI?
We should use AI to develop.
We should encourage
because
of STEM courses.
Yes,
and make sure that we have financed it very well.
The reason why I'm saying like that is because we are how many years old independent?
60 years.
60
More
years.
than 60 actually.
60 years now.
61, 60,
63 to present.
61 thereabout.
Yeah, 61, yeah.
61 years of independence, and we are still struggling with the issues of the people who don't have water in this country.
Yeah, completely. Many of them.
Even here in Nairobi, we do also struggle with water.
We are still struggling with the same issues we struggled with
60 years later.
60 years ago. So maybe we need to change our way of doing things, because we can't struggle with the same problem we struggled with 60 years ago, and think.
I believe also ask Kenyans, we should stop living believing that somebody else is going to come to solve our problems. I think I do see that in us. We tend to depend on solutions from outside, and we don't even believe.
We are waiting. We are waiting for somebody to come and help us do this. When we can do so.
We can do it.
To me, I think the government should heavily, even if you are saying we need to concentrate on recurrent expenditures, I think the government should heavily invest and budget for set aside money for innovation and invention.
Very, very, very important.
So that we can move forward. We'd rather reduce the number of people working in these parastatals and even close down some of the parastatals are not helpful. There are so many parastatals that have employed people who are earning money who are not helpful.
And also we have ghost workers.
We have a lot of ghost workers in these counties. I think we'd rather set aside a lot of money to go to invention and maybe these incubation centers to build on this technology so as to counter this AI thing. Or we remain budgeting for recurrent expenditures and die poor and remain poor.
So that sounds like if there is any person in government who follows us, we need 47 innovation centers. That is one per county. And that will be a beginning of something.
Yeah, maybe we can start from there.
And then those innovation centers should be funded. That will be a great step forward. So I don't
And
know.
on top of that, we should do podcast in Swahili to encourage the use of this.
At some point we shall do a podcast in Swahili so that tuongee Kiswahili katika podcast zetu, tukuze lugha yetu na pia tufikie wale ambao hawaelewi Kiingereza. Kwa hayo tunashukuru sana kwa kujiunga nasi kwa siku ya leo. Tuonane katika kipindi kijacho.
Inshallah.